All right, I think we're live.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
back. This is
finally.
happening.
You guys have no idea. We've been trying to figure this technical stuff out for the last like 10, 15 minutes. So we're late, but we made it. I have a hard stop today at 10:30, so we got about 40 minutes or so. But we have plenty of time to discuss things. We haven't done one in a while, so we wanted to get together and just pop in and do a stream and talk to you guys. So I'm not sure how many people are here, but we're here, and that's all that counts
We
right
got
now, right?
9 now, right?
We got
I
9.
think
Good.
everybody's learned that it takes us a little while to get this going, so they start checking in later.
Yeah. They're used to our timeliness, huh? We're
Yeah.
it's my fault cuz I think Sean was ready. But I am the host. I can say I'm the host. I'm trying to like
Yeah.
set up
It's the
OBS.
stream software. That's what's killing us, right? The Google Meets or StreamYard. That's the hard part.
I know. I know. Um Let me see if I can just bump up your volume though cuz I swear it's going to be
Yeah.
too low. It's going to annoy me. Um
Yeah, it was funny. We were talking about this earlier. We've had a lot of issues trying to get my volume to match your volume. And it dawned on me the one time I was super loud was when we were using StreamYard. Every time we do Google Meets, I'm really quiet for some reason. So whatever the difference is between those two, I think
yeah.
is what our issue
I
is.
I think you're good now. I just bumped it up, so hopefully you're better. Let me hear
Oh,
you.
Aziz MZ, we need more than 40 minutes. Yeah, we know. I keep trying to get Havo to do this constantly, but he's always so busy working on Legend Bowl. You
Or I'm
don't take
just
any time to goof around anymore, man.
yeah, or I'm just burnt out because I get burnt out.
Yeah,
What I do is I go
that's more it. Yeah.
yeah, like the franchise mode. I went through a whole bunch of just constant work. For 3 months. Actually, it was like almost 4 months, right? It was like three and a
Yeah.
half months of just burning myself out, and you get to a point where you reach like this plateau where you're like, I'm done. And then you see like your sales and you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm done for like a week or
Yeah.
two.
Yeah,
And
I know. Believe me, I know all about that.
yeah, so you just kind of start backing away. But for everybody who supported the game, we appreciate it. I appreciate it. Sean's going to appreciate you whenever you support his game that's coming out and the ones that you've supported in the past. I mean, I like to do these with Sean also because I know that like I have a bigger channel right now because of the things I did with All Pro Football, and I really want to get his games out there because I think that you guys need to hear. We've talked about this before, but you guys, the people that are doing football development out there, there's not many people, and the ones that I think are worth kind of following. I mean, I might be biased, but it's us. I mean, let's just be honest.
Well, we're the farthest along, to be sure, right? At least we've made games that are playable or complete games. There's actually quite a few guys right now starting. Um, but you see that a lot of times, right? It'd be like I talked about last time, right? The hard part is the making a full game playable part. And you and I were luckily we've got past that, and now we can hammer out games and we can talk about complete playable games. It's cool that there are other developers out there, but until they get past that point, it's going to be hard to really talk about what they're doing as a game. It's more like you're on the process and there's a lot to do, but it's not quite a game yet. It's a little harder to talk about those.
Yeah, that and another thing that I think is interesting is that there are people that have. I mean, people are very good at marketing, which I think you and I could be good at marketing if we weren't so
I
honest
wish.
and we weren't so busy, because we're the kind of people that we kind of just tell it how it is. And I know for myself, I'm not very good at just promoting things and making things sound better than
Yeah.
they are. I mean, I could easily say my game is the best football game in the world, has the best gameplay in the world, franchise is unbelievably creative and great and blah blah blah. But I just don't use those buzzwords, and I'm not trying to. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not really trying to sell people, but I know I need to sell people so I can survive and do this. So it's a catch 22. But that's what I like about what we do because we're hobbyists, we're passionate
Yeah.
football devs that are
Make the
gamers.
game first and then talk about it later. And we never really get to the talk about it later part. We just keep making more game. That's probably why we're so small.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the people that are just doing it out of the goodness of their heart and they're really trying to focus on a quality game, they're not going to beat, people like Madden and EA who are doing it
Yeah.
all for the money. I mean, more for the money than the game, in my opinion. But
Well, or those guys we've kind of talked about before, where they come out and it's just like this amazing amount of hype, right? Whoever those guys were that made all that money on Kickstarter, you
right,
probably see some other projects that pop up once in a while where like there's all these great press, there's all these great promises, they have this vision and everything like that, but there's no game, right? It's all just talk, and then most of them grab a bunch of money, grab a bunch of attention, and then they disappear. It's like, I would love to have the skill to get all that attention, but like you and I do, it's like, well, let's have the game first, right? Have something to talk about. Um,
and to be
I
honest
just,
with you, like
I just can't talk about vaporware, right?
right, and companies have a marketing department and a sales department for a reason. And those departments serve a purpose. I'm just not a salesperson, and neither are you, I
Yeah,
think,
me
right? So
neither.
we're not wired that way. I mean, could I do it? Yeah, but it's not authentic, right? It's me pushing myself to be
Yeah,
somebody I'm not because I'm
I
not
just
somebody
couldn't
that
do
sells.
it. Yeah,
My thought process, which is not the best, is let it sell itself. Like if it's that good, let it sell yourself. Like look at our YouTube channels. Like I don't sit there, you and I don't sit there and do post-production crazy. Even this, look at this
oh
stream.
God,
We're not
no.
even on time, right? So I mean, we're very casual and it comes off as maybe being unprofessional at times. I don't know, or it may come across as not being as big of a bang for your buck in terms of your
Yeah,
sales side, but that's we focus on trying to just give good content and it's kind of raw. But
yeah. You and
anyways,
I talk about the process a lot of times when I do my videos too. Like I sit down, I don't practice it. There's no script. I hit record. I wing it. When it's done, slap a screen on the front and upload. And that's it. That's literally it.
right. And so today we have some topics because we have a hard cut off. So let's get to
Yeah.
the business here. We have a few topics that I wrote down somewhere.
Yeah. We got to talk
Um,
about game reviews. This is something you and I talk about a lot because you read game reviews
mhm.
on Legend Bowl. I never read reviews, um, but it comes up a lot. And I think you just lost. No, I'm back. Game reviews is something that's kind of interesting to me, especially with Steam. There's no this isn't a secret. Steam is toxic, right? The game reviews, you start reading game reviews on Steam and they're garbage and they're just people being mean and all that stuff. But when I tell people that, other developers that, like they lose their mind on me. So they're like, no, you gotta read reviews, right? You gotta take the feedback. It's yeah, it's hard feedback, but you gotta take it.
Mhm.
So I thought it would be an interesting topic for us to talk about
Well,
because
yeah,
I've come out of the gate with my stance on this. So be
right.
curious to hear now that you're in the meat grinder what you think about this.
Well, there's a it's weird because I'm trying to find this review that somebody left that wasn't great. And as an example, it's the one I showed you, and
Yeah.
for some reason it's not
Yeah,
showing
that's the
up.
one that set me off. Well,
Yeah.
again, I get set off about this all the time.
Well, and that's the problem. It's like, should we be getting set off by this stuff? And somebody left a review and then they took it down, I think, because I can't find it, but it was basically complaining that I am releasing franchise mode for free. No, I'm releasing it as I don't know. It was weird. It was like they said, I mean, I
Yeah, he
have it
was
right here.
upset you were releasing it for free for people who already own the game, but you raised the price for people who hadn't bought the game. And his take was, if you're releasing this for the fans, it's you should not be upcharging your price for people who haven't bought. Anyway, his logic was garbage. But the essential point was, I want stuff for free. If you, as a company, try to make money, I'm going to leave you a bad review. Like it was that kind of garbage, which
Well, what
you
he said.
see all the time. You tell me, you show me reviews all the time where
Hmm.
people are losing their minds because you dare ask for money for a product that you provided. Like,
Right. And I mean, I'm going to pull up right now just the Steam page, just so you guys can maybe read a couple while we're talking here. But
oh,
I don't know
Phenomenal
how.
says it's in the discussion forum. That might be
Yeah,
why you can't find it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the discussion forum, another place I don't go on Steve's when you
oh,
want to talk about toxic places.
oh, the discussion forum. Okay, well that's different. Let me try to run over there, but I think I'm gonna
They're
have to log in. But either way,
Nah,
I
you don't
mean,
need to go to the discussion forum. We want to talk about reviews.
yeah. So yeah, let's talk about reviews. So here's the thing with reviews. So somebody in the Discord, one of the guys that are on the beta team, he basically alerted me to the fact that somebody was leaving this review. And you read it and you're like, okay, I to be honest with you, have totally just I mean, I check them out here and there, but typically it's just people complaining. If you're gonna leave a negative review, then chances are either you're trying to there are some people actually who are trying to give you criticism, good criticism that you can actually listen to. And there may be things on there that I actually find, and I'm like, you know what? I should tweak that. I should, that's good feedback, especially when you release a mode like this huge, like franchise mode where you're like, okay, is this even working right? Do people like it? What are things that people, think would make it better? And are they quick things I can do? And do I agree? So I'm not actually searching for ideas as much as I am like, it's almost like things that poke at me. And if I'm in the mood or I have the interest in listening and doing it, or it just you catch me at the right moment, those things get added to the game. They cause scope creep. They cause the
So
game
do
to be
you
either
ever
better or
get
worse. But
anything from negative reviews that you didn't already know though?
um are you paused on the screen before I keep no, I see you now. Okay,
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
see it. Every once in a while my picture jumps out and jumps back in, but that's okay.
Do I ever get what was your question again? I'm
So
sorry.
the question is, this is kind of to my core about reviews and how I think they're worthless. Do you ever get things from your negative reviews that you didn't already know about your game?
From the negative reviews,
Yeah. So when people post things like your animation sucks, right? Or they say aren't like Madden, right? The stuff that you always see in negative reviews. Like, do you ever read a negative review and find something valuable that you didn't already know?
I mean, never is a strong word, but probably not. I mean, like this guy here, he's saying
Well, if it's
zone.
1 out of 100, that's still not enough to justify it.
No, no. And this guy's like zone defenses are horrid here. A lot of maddening going on or whatever. So it's like people also have, because we do football games, they also have the Madden stigma that's tied to them, that they try to throw Madden in here. You're either not as good as Madden, or Madden's, worse than you, but you're in the same spot. I mean, it's just like I don't even want to hear about Madden. This guy's going through like zone defenses and collision issues and tip passes and you know
Yeah,
fine.
he's basically saying your game is not this game that I have inside of my head that I want to play. And I want your game to be that game. It's like, well, you like that's not the game that you bought. Like you made Legend Bowl. That was the game. He bought Legend Bowl. He's playing Legend Bowl. Like, stop trying to make it into a game that it isn't.
And
Like,
what's
and
crazy,
that's what a lot of these negative reviews do.
you know
It's
what's
annoying.
crazy, about this, and I'm going to read this part real quick because I started the game out thinking I'm going to have just no difficulty setting. I'm going to have this is the game, because I'm
Oh
one of
yeah,
those people that from back in the day, you played a
I don't
game
plan
and
on
there were
having
no
difficulty
sliders. There
settings.
was no if think about a platformer, like a 2D platformer. I don't even know, they probably have some difficulty levels, but I think to myself like a really good organically like well-made game and designed game is going to just be what it is, like Pac-Man. You don't go into Pac-Man. I know I'm sounding, my age is,
Yeah.
coming up here, but the bottom line is you it's like watching a movie. You don't go and watch a movie and say, okay, do I want the happier version, the sadder version? Let me pick a setting before I watch the movie. No, we're making art, and the art should be, it is what it is for whatever crowd it's
Yeah, it's just
categorized
an
for.
experience. You're creating an experience with your game.
Right, you're creating an experience, and it's like I don't like having multiple versions of my game out there. And if you look at my settings now, oh my god, bro, it's like every single time I put anything out, or even the beta testers, you guys are on here now, probably some of you guys watching.
There's a few of them on here
You
I can
guys
see.
know that everybody has a different flavor. I'm drinking, certain type of coffee. You might have a different type of flavor you like, certain creamers. Everybody has their own preferences. I get that. The problem is when you have someone who cares about their game and cares about what people think about their game, you also start to accommodate people, and you get to a point where you have so many settings. I have so many settings now. It's
Yeah.
absolutely
Settings and
ridiculous.
sliders, man.
Yeah. I don't have
That's what
sliders.
people Like they want to use that stuff to create this game they have in their head that's not your game.
Right. And I still have like the basic, easy, medium, and people complain that like if you go from like normal to like hard, it's too hard. So put one in between. And I may look at that because I've heard that many times. But I guess at the end of the day, like this guy here, he's saying the camera on kick returns isn't good. That's what he says. And then he goes, when returning a kickoff, it's much too zoomed in. You have no idea what's happening with your frontline blockers. And he goes on to explain, but do you understand that you could change that setting to zoom out? I have 3 different zoom levels. So go find the settings.
Nope, it's worth a negative review.
Right.
Because negative reviews are valuable, right?
Right. This guy didn't go in the Discord probably and ask anyone. He didn't try to, pursue any kind of a discussion.
Oh no, it's way easier to just give you a negative review.
Right. But he wrote
he doesn't have to take any time to think. He doesn't have to take any time to reach out to you and discuss anything. He doesn't have to ask for help or even investigate the options. No, just fire off a negative review.
This guy's trying to tell me that the gameplay itself is not good enough from a capital football standpoint. Okay. Whatever. I don't even want to get into it. The bottom line,
he's the expert, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that decides what's football.
And he's also made the best football game ever in like 30 minutes. So
he made 2K football all by himself. I'm sure. Right.
Whatever. And that's the problem. It's
that's my point, right? Is that the reviews are garbage. And the fact that Steam, and I know why Steam does it, right? It's just, you have to have something so people know what they're getting into. But negative reviews are so worthless and they do nothing constructive. It's just people complaining or trying to emotionally manipulate you into making the game they have in their head, which is why I've never read a review on my own game. I never will read a review on my own game because they're pointless. And I'm not going to play that game with people, right?
I can tell you right now.
I see your reviews, people trying to manipulate you into doing things and adding things into the game, and it pisses me off.
And that's what it really comes down to. People are complaining, and I get it. They're complaining and they're trying to vent. Some are just mad. Some are haters. Some think that your game is trash because it's pixel. Some people don't even they buy it and they return it within that 2-hour period or whatever it is, and they get their money back and they still complain about it. And they say, oh, it's no good. I had to return it. The game's not good. And it's like, okay, whatever. But reviews,
if you return it. But why do you gotta leave a review like that?
Right. You got your money back. And that's the thing that I don't know how Steam, we're such small fish in the pond that I don't know how Steam even how the algorithm changes for my reviews, but I'm sure. But if you know what's funny? Speaking of reviews, it's like I have a pretty high percentage of positive review. 91%. You can't see because I have my dark theme, but 91% are positive. So that's pretty damn good. And over the last recent, it's 85%. So somehow the franchise mode made people more upset. Who knows?
Yeah, adding more features made people like it less. I don't know. I just hate the whole review system.
But the guy that left the review the other day, he was just basically he was complaining about the fact that I'm charging for the franchise mode. But I'm not charging for franchise mode if you own the game. I gave it to you for free. And that was my plan. And my plan also was to put it on sale, bump the price up, which I did, and then put it on sale. But Steam doesn't allow you to do that because they want to protect against people having fake sales, right? You inflate your price and then you make it like everybody else in the world does. You inflate your price and then you make a sale and you make the same money, but you get more people to come in. But I couldn't do it. So whatever. The point is that I don't really care what people think on my reviews. I don't really care what people think in general. I will take people's criticism if I think it's going to help the game and I can manage to do it. The guys in the beta team and even the guys on Discord, they're constantly throwing things on there. And some days I'm pissed and I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from anybody. If you guys saw the sales I was getting, with my game, which are pretty good for one system or one, storefront, you can't raise a family with that money, right? Like that money, I should have gotten a job by now, months and years ago, right? I'm on my 5th year coming on this game and I've made less money than you can make at a grocery store. And I'm not even kidding. And that's not even, it's funny, but it's sad.
But that's the right place for this discussion, right? The feedback these guys give you, it's overwhelming at times, but that's the right place because then they can give you actual feedback. You can then respond and say, whatever, it's in the settings, or, oh, okay, that's an interesting idea, but I chose not to do it because this is my design intent. Like, you can have this conversation on Discord, or, like through even like YouTube comments and things like that, where you can actually talk about this stuff. Game reviews, it's entirely one way. The person leaving the review thinks they have all the power and they can manipulate you into doing whatever they want, or just be mean, right? So, like,
Yeah.
I love how your community handles like feedback with your beta team and things like that. It's a discussion, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong,
And
but
I think that,
everybody
yeah.
understands that.
And I think that they're very good at understanding that I'm an emotional roller coaster because you work so hard and you put so much into it, so many years into it, and there are days where you just don't want to hear it, and they understand that I'm very temperamental and I can be up and down, but they also know that they can squeeze things in on me because they know that deep down inside I really want a quality game, and that's kind of where the rubber meets the road kind of thing. And that's what
Yeah.
ends up happening is the game just improves, and I have to deal with and they have to deal with me, I have to deal with them, and we have our good days and bad days. But at the end of it all, the negative reviews for me, most of them are just people complaining because they just
Yeah.
want to complain, and
Yeah.
they don't care how much you give. I mean, I just made franchise mode for free.
Yeah. They don't
And
care. It's never enough. Never enough for
I haven't seen
reviews.
I haven't seen one person come out and be like, "Oh my god, like all these people that were complaining about franchise mode, do you think any of them, maybe like a small percentage have? Because I haven't really done the homework because I don't have time for that, but how many of them have changed their stances on the game? How many of them have actually bought the game? They'll never buy the game. They won't buy it because it's pixel art.
Yeah.
They won't buy it because it's not Madden, and they end up, just complaining to you because they want to complain to you, and then they end up with no options. But this this stream
Yeah.
wasn't really to complain. I know we always can easily go
Yeah.
down this
Well,
rabbit
I wasn't
hole.
complaining about reviews because I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
This is almost like planting the flag and half convincing you as well. No developer should ever read reviews. It's garbage, right?
And
Listen to your
no,
discords, have discussions with people, talk face to face. That's super valuable. Reviews are garbage.
and I also don't
Steam,
think
get
that
rid of reviews.
people like when I buy a game, I mean, obviously if the percentage of reviews are flipped and you have 95% negative, I'm not buying that game. I'll look at the percentage. I won't go through the reviews and be like, "Oh my god,
I don't even do that
14%."
anymore because games are getting review bombed.
Right. Right. Right.
So what does it even mean?
Yeah. I don't even play a lot of games, but I know which ones I'll
Yeah, me
like by
neither,
by
actually.
looking at videos and watching, other reviews, and I can get a sense of what I would like. So as far as reviews go, I think that they serve a purpose for people to kind of just vent and feel like they have a voice. Some people have a good way of explaining themselves, but at the end of the day, if you're a jerk and you're going to put a thumbs down and not recommend a game, I don't think you're even worth listening to, because what I would do personally, if I really wanted to improve the game, then I would give it a thumbs up, and I would put some notes in there saying, "Hey, the game's not perfect. This is what I think it should have. I like it enough, and I give this guy credit for making a football game by himself."
I know, that's the funny thing,
You
right?
know, and some people actually
Hey,
do that. By the way, they do
yeah,
say that. So
I've seen that on other people's games. Like I said, I don't read mine, but it's kind of a good segue into, we want to talk about franchise mode. You just launched your franchise mode, and according to reviews, right, it's not what everybody has in their head about franchise mode. But I think the really interesting part about it is you went from a game with season mode to a game with franchise mode. So you are progressing franchise mode, right? This is meaningful. You've added one. It's very creative. You're trying to do different things with franchise mode. It's interesting to me now that the AAA companies seem to be going the opposite direction, right? The indies are kind of leaning into franchise mode because between me and you, we're trying to do more franchise modes, more interesting things with franchise mode, be better. But like the Maddens, well, basically everything EA and some of the other big games are going away from franchise mode, which to me is so interesting. And I cannot fathom why they would do that, but they all seem to be doing that.
I think, and I 100% agree with you. I think that number one, I'm an old school person. I'm a franchise person. I never thought, even to this day, I don't think that online is an authentic way to play a game. You have people that constantly cheese, you have the lag input, you have to deal with people that are either cursing or saying things you don't want to hear. I never found a great
Oh yeah.
experience online, and the ones that kind of were decent, where I think it would actually work is when you have a group of people that you put together in an online league, like a franchise mode online, but then getting all of those people together, getting them all to commit to a full season when they're 0 and 5 or 0 and 8, they're not going to want to play,
Uh-huh.
you know, and so that when you can control the crowd that you're playing with, that's fine. But how do you find those people? How do you get those people in and to stick around and to finish the whole
Yeah.
thing? And so the online component to me is destroyed. So I would rather have a way to play offline. The only problem with offline is now you got to have a decent AI, you got to have
Yep.
a decent enough mode. But I like the convenience of being able to walk in at whatever time it is and play without having to coordinate with anybody online. So you know why the
Yeah.
companies are going away from franchise, because it's not making them as much money. They're going to make more
Well, the
money on
weird thing
DLC
is, if you
online.
look at the data, so every once in a while, data comes out about multiplayer versus single player. And every year it comes out, it's weighted vastly in favor of single player offline play. Most people, and when I say most people, the numbers come out to be like 80 to 90% of people play single player offline. To me, that's a gold mine for franchise mode. Why are they not investing in that? Now I know why, because the revenue is not the same way, right? If you're a single player playing offline, you buy the game once and that's it. That's all the money they get from you. If you play Madden Ultimate Team, it's like going to the casino, right? They can keep taking money from you and give you almost nothing in return. So I get the financial reason why they don't do it, but the thing that sucks is for the vast majority of your customers, you're providing a bad experience. That sucks, frankly.
Yeah.
And that's more reason people should be a little more forgiving for indies and buy more indie games, because the experience is tailored more towards what 90% of the people need, right?
Yeah, and I think that, like, for me, the reason why I did franchise mode was two part. One was I didn't know what else I was going to work on because my game was I was happy enough with the game, but I know it needed more meat. It needed a longer like playability, and I needed a mode like that. And I think I hit the mark I wanted to hit. I did it in the shortest time I could do it for me, and I think that it's going to work out. And then I'm trying to just push this over the edge so that the publisher can take on the porting, and we can get this game out on consoles, at least 2 out of the 3, hopefully by the time football season starts. Because consoles, guys, for you guys who are listening and supporting, consoles is where I'm going to make or break this game and this studio. If the consoles don't make it, I'm probably going to be doing this part time and have to go get a job.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'll
not
have
probably.
to.
I'm going to have to. This has
Yeah.
been way too long. I've been eating way too many resources for too long, and I'm basically, at the point where consoles are trying. So before I get to console, or before I, my plan was to firm up the game, make it the best it could possibly be with the resources and time that I have, so that when I push it over the edge and let it fly, okay, on consoles, that we get the best chance to make it. And that's where I'm at right
Yeah.
now. So I'm finally finishing a follow-up patch that I'm working on for the franchise mode. And then I'm going to push it over the edge and just very, very minimal tweaks and changes until it gets out, because we have to get this thing out.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna
franchise
be
was
paying
a big part of
close
it.
close attention to your console sales too, because like
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously I have Cyberleague football that's almost done, but I've outside of that, I've got 3 more games in the pipeline. And if consoles don't work out for you, like that'll change everything with how I'm going to do. Like my plan was by the end of this year, I was going to start, hammering away full time at my pipeline, and you're going to see football games of all different flavors coming out in the next couple of years. If your console sales suck, what's the point, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's the problem, because I can imagine, like, if we actually had success and had money to put into a game. Oh, and let's not even talk about taxes, by the way, because I'm also thinking
Oh
if I
God,
had a
no
way
kidding.
to get a studio, like, it would maybe help with the income tax situation that I'm in, it's not good, guys. It's not pretty, but the bottom line is, like, if I had a way to put more money into the studio, if we had a way to do that, we would make great games. I mean, look what we're doing by ourselves with just no, like,
No
popularity,
budget, no
no
team.
no budget, no team, no visibility, nobody cares. I
Uh,
mean, like, I've seen an article from Operation Sports, because I reached out to them like I do everybody, and they wrote an article for that. I had the Bears fan, Mr. Bears fan, on YouTube. You'll find him. He did a review, or he did like a video about the passing mechanic in the game before franchise even came out. He was talking about how Madden is trying to do this now or whatever, and or he says Madden should do it. I don't know, but he's trying to get Madden views, putting my game on there. But nobody takes us seriously. Nobody cares. And so I think I'm hoping that consoles will open the door for that, right? I hope that people can actually hear about our games, because now we're on console and they can see it. So franchise mode is one of those things where I can't do online by myself. And the resources it takes to get servers up, to get all the infrastructure set up, to get all the net code working and built, which I've never done before, that ain't happening. But online would be another alternative to, or addition to, the game that we would like to have down the road. But as far as we're concerned, franchise mode is good enough. Why are AAA games moving away from it? Because I think it's way too much work for the return that they're getting. They would rather put that money
yeah,
into, I think, into like DLC and online
DLCs,
markets.
Madden Ultimate Team, right? Those player
Yeah.
loot boxes, basically.
Because you
Yeah.
have kids every day. My kid all the time I mean, not as much lately. I think he's gotten better, a lot better at it actually. But there was a time where he would ask me almost every day, like, "Can I get a new skin? Can I get a new thing for
Yeah,
Fortnite
my
or
son is
whatever
like
it might
that
be?"
too.
And it's like, or NBA 2K, can I get some V
Some
Bucks
new
and
shoes,
or
right?
VC or whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like they're making money like hand over fist on that stuff.
It's just so
It's crazy.
bad for games as a whole, though, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it's kind of depressing that that's what players want. Want
It's their market.
engaging
Like,
franchise mode. They don't care about that. They don't care about better gameplay. They don't care about innovation. Care about like Madden Ultimate Team and skins.
right. And that's the
Like,
part that's like, when you're an independent, like, even if you're an independent business owner and you have a small shop and you start getting into more corporate and more AAA and, blue chip type of company, you're going to lose. You're going to start thinking about the bottom dollar, because you have to pay employees. You got people that are suing you
yeah,
potentially. You have, all these different costs that are coming through, and it just changes it from being an organically, like natural, like good passion thing to a business. And you want to walk
yeah.
that fine line and not get too big if you can, and hopefully we can make it there. But we wanted to get
Yeah,
on
that's
today.
the
I have
goal,
about,
right? To be able to survive as a business and not have to go to get a job, but in a way that doesn't require you to compromise making a good game, basically. And that's tough. That's a tough line to walk.
why don't you talk about Cyberleague? Let me I need to go say something to my wife real quick and ask her something. But let me
Yeah.
enable let me set you up with, I think if we do the web share, Google share thing,
Oh man, we
can you
tried this before.
pop something up on
How's
your
this gonna
end?
go, man?
No, we could do it. Pop up like your game screen or whatever you wanted to show, and then I could just step away for a few
All
minutes.
right, let me share this. I got leaked footage. We can talk about. I can show some leaked footage. Um, do you see it yet?
No, let me set you up here, because
I'm sharing it. Do you see my screen? Because I can't really see the preview while I'm in the.
yeah, I'm gonna get you there. So that's the best I can do right now. At least you can see the screen, right?
I have no idea.
If you look on if you
Oh
look
yeah,
on
looks like I see it now. Okay.
if you look on YouTube, you can get to it, right? You can see it, right?
Okay. Cool. Yep. All right. Leaked footage, everybody. Right. You got to put this on the title of your stream or video replay. So again, just in case anybody doesn't know, I'm kind of working on Cyberleague football, which is a modern remake on Cyberball. The game is almost fully was basically fully functional right now. So we got the different. I'm just gonna quickly catch everybody up in tap dance while Havo's running. Right, we got quick play. We got a season mode where you pick a team and then you play a season. Try to win the playoffs, win the championship, and if you win that, you unlock some stuff in the trophy case. We got a ladder challenge where you just progressively play through the different tiers using different teams for each game. So you get a flavor of playing every team. So it's kind of a fun thing. But I guess the biggest thing right now is we've got everything set up to play. And we're at the phase right now where we're refining the gameplay. And that's a really fun, right? I had talked about it before. The process of making a football game, it's tough and it's kind of a grind at the beginning where you have all these ideas and you do things like, all right, how do I make a player run? How do I make a player throw a ball? Getting player models and things like that. Like that's all the early stuff that you see everybody do. But when you get to the point where you can actually play your game, it takes on a whole new dimension, right? It's just really fun. And I just hit the part where this is becoming really fun. So I'm the bandits and I can actually play against the other team a full game. A lot of the AI is not perfect, but we're at the point right now where I could play enough that I can now do things to the AI and to improve it. I can improve like little aspects of the game. Things like, all right, are the quarterbacks accurate enough? Are they too accurate right now? They're too accurate. Do they read the defenses correctly? Do the defenses do things like cover zones correctly? Oh, missed that pass. So like little things like the ball bouncing in the air if it's an incomplete pass and it bounces off a robot. That was something I just added yesterday. So that part of the game where
I hate you, Sean. I hate you, man. Huh? I hate you because you go so fast with your development. Fast. Yeah, no, true. I'm gonna kill you because I see what you do, and I want to literally fly to you and kill you because this guy makes the fastest progress I've ever seen in my life. Like he talks like TJ and Cal, but he moves like a lightning bolt, and he actually backs it up. Like I see what you have here, and it's like you could have been doing this for 2 years. Easily.
Yeah, I've been working on. How long have I working on? It's like 3 months, 4 months, something like that. When did we? When did we announce it?
I'm gonna kill you. You're an ass. 3 months. Okay.
But I love it. When you get to this part, and I harp on it, but it's meaningful, right? When you get to the part, sucks. But when you get to that part where you can actually have a real game and play a real game of football. Like I do harp on it, but it changes everything. Oh crap. It's so different than people showing, all right, look, I got my guy to run. I have a new model. They show screens and things like that. And that's cool. But you can just tell this is a totally different ball game, right? Playing your game.
I love the fact that you put that outside, like perimeter, like the map on the background. That's so much. It just like instantly like takes it from like a little prototype game to something that's so much better. Like just that.
Oh, it changed everything, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. And I'm just seeing it now for the first time in live, and I just think it's just like
this is leaked footage, man. Nobody's seen it before. This is the first time it's ever been shown live.
You're actually playing the game right now, right?
Yeah, I'm actually playing right now, which is why. Come on, guy, get up there. There we are.
So see, it's not even leaked footage. This is like the real deal. Crazy.
Yeah, I'm playing an actual game.
But see, that's part of the problem though too, is like I'm just kind of giving you a hard time with how fast you go. But finishing a game takes so long to do. Like that's why you gotta cut your like scope to a certain point, and you gotta really hit it hard to even get it out the door, because prototyping and doing, the meat of it isn't that crazy. But like you say, when you get into the football part of it, when you're actually trying to tune and make sure the behaviors are correct, and you don't have like blown plays every time, like that stuff starts to, eat into your time and your patience, and you really have to like churn on that. I mean, I did that for a long time for Legend Bowl. Like the gameplay was like overly like constantly like tuned and changed and updated and refined. Like, and I know you've
Yep.
done that plenty of times with your games, but football is a very, very deep, deep, deep learning curve, and like steep or whatever. And it's just like you could do it forever
Oh
and never
yeah.
and you could take 10 years doing it and feel like you haven't shown anybody anything new, but it's all under the hood, you know?
Yeah. And it's oh my god, he smoked me on that one. But that's part of the fun part. Why I always say get to a playable game as fast as possible, because like you said, that can take forever. But until you can play it and see how it all works together, you could just be making adjustments that don't. Oh my god, you could be making adjustments and then have to undo them later. And it's like it's just so important to get to a game that you can play. Because I see things I want to fix right now, but you wouldn't see them unless you were actually in a live game.
Do you find that having what do you have there? 7 on, what is that, 7 on
Seven on
7?
seven. Yeah, I copied Cyberball on
Okay.
that
Do you
part.
do you find that it's harder to do the gameplay code because you have more space on your field, but your field's probably also a little bit smaller, like more
My
narrow,
field's a
right?
little bit smaller, yep, to
Okay.
make up for that. But yeah, I mean that's a good point. It is actually kind of I have to think about football a little bit differently than I would for an 11 on 11 game, just because there's fewer guys on the field. So, oh my god, there's fewer guys on the field, so defense is tough with fewer players. Um, just little things like that. The strategy of the game is a little different in 7 on 7. So you just got to think about AI a little bit differently. Um, the cool part is um, it's a lot more focused. Oops. Um, so it's like an 11 on 11, especially for like roster management. There's just so many players that, oh boy, that's not good. That the AI, here, I'm going to stop now. Basically just going to keep playing forever.
Oh, you're gonna stop. So let me switch back over to the
Yeah.
there we
It's
go.
fun. It's interesting. It's a little more focused. 11 on 11, I found now that I'm doing 7 on 7 and I've done 8 on 8, I found that when you go back to 11 on 11, so much of your development and the game in 11 on 11 football is centered around offensive line. Because you think about it, there are 5 offensive linemen in 11 on 11, and there's 3, 4, or 5 defensive linemen in 11 on 11. That's a significant part of the game that is entirely focused around line play. And like I like line play, offensive line is like my favorite position. But for a video game, it gets tough to spend that much time focusing on blocking. When you go to 7 or 8-man football, you have 3 linemen on offense and 2 or 3 defensive linemen. And the ratio of skill players to linemen changes in favor of the skill players. So the game gets a lot more interesting and a lot more exciting. And development, you get to focus more on the skill players and the getting space in the field and moving, trying to move where the defense goes, and the defense coverage reacting to where the receivers are going is a much bigger part of the game, because there more of the players are skill players and fewer of them are linemen. So that's the one thing that's been kind of eye-opening to me as I've done this. I started 11 on 11, I went to 8 on 8, now I'm 7 on 7. And it's that part has been really interesting to me. And I like the creativity of having more of the game focused on skill players than linemen.
And you don't have to worry about, you probably said it, but you don't have to worry about all the work that it takes to get this perfect pocket, right? I mean, you have to worry about it a little
That's
bit.
tough. It's so hard to get perfect pocket and to get running lanes,
Right. Running lanes are
especially.
huge. I still have problems
It's
with that.
hard.
And I did the best I could to get it to where it needs to be, to where it feels good. But you're gonna
Yeah.
have those time those like blue moon times where outliers where you have some weird thing happen and people are like, oh, I can't run inside anymore, or like, the guy's not skilled enough, or the offensive line's not skilled enough, and then they just ping it to be, or pin it to be, it's not a good AI. but man, offensive, like you have to like fake some of that stuff a little bit too
Yeah.
to make it look like authentically like nice without making it purely organic. Because if you just do, I know when I was doing it, when you just take the raw like attributes and skills of the players and you just put them against each other like two bots, you see a lot of crazy stuff where things will
Yeah.
just get holes will open wide open or they'll all close. You'll get like a massive like sack or blitz, or you'll get a wide open lane. And no
Yeah.
matter how much you tune it, you either see them like stuck, not moving anywhere, or you have too much overpowering on one side or the other. So it's
Yeah.
very hard to kind of get like, so you got to kind of build in things. And for my game, I don't even know where I landed. I've done so many changes to it,
Yeah.
but
But
I
you've
did
done it.
enough.
You've got 11 on 11. So think about that. 5 offensive linemen and 1 to 2 additional run blockers, like on a running play. That's 6 to 7 guys out of 11 who are blocking.
Yeah. And you, and foot
Like
and
that's
people don't
tough.
get it because you also have to worry about like what if you have somebody come out with five wide, an offensive like five receivers or whatever, or four and a tight end, and then you have a defense come out with goal line or something. Like how do
Yep.
you, you know, I know like if you look at that example alone, the offense should blow them out of the water. But in real life, what would they do? They would pull guys off the line and adjust and grab receivers and make sure that they try to track them and guard them. And I think I try to do that in my game, but like there's so many situations
Yeah.
like that and scenarios where if you just let the user, you know, pick the scenario and your AI picks the wrong play, which is another whole thing, AI play calling, right?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
like
That's
you can
tough.
have these like exploits and people be like, "Oh, the game's too easy or it's too hard or
Right.
you
Then you
can't
get a
do this or you can't
yep,
do that."
thumbs down review.
Right. Thumbs down because I can run. I mean, I did a video for Madden, I don't know, 2021, whatever it was, where I literally ran with the QB every time and they
Yep.
couldn't stop me on all Madden. They couldn't stop me. And I say to myself, well, could you do that with my game? Maybe. Maybe you can. I don't even know. I never tried it, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are exploits in any football game you've ever played because
Oh
it's
yeah.
too hard to get everything to perfectly cover each other, you know?
Yeah. But that's also one of the reasons why I like 7 and 8 person football more is because the game is so focused on the skill players and on defense specifically covering the field with a short amount of players. A lot of the exploits just don't really exist. So things like running goal line against 5 wide. Well, that works in 11 because you have to have a goal line formation because the offense could come out in 3 tight ends and now you have 8 people run blocking. So you have to have a defensive counter for that. If in 7 on 7 you only have 3 linemen at the best, if you put one extra blocker in there, you only have 2 eligible receivers. So running goal line makes no sense. So on defense, you don't have to worry about that because defense is focused on covering skill positions. So the offense could come out with an extra blocker. You still only have 2 defensive linemen, but your defense is set up to cover the field. They'll react fine. They'll be okay. It's not going to break the system like it would in a Madden where guys will run like, they'll run 5 wide and just wait for that one mismatch, or they'll run goal line every single play with a punter as the quarterback, right? And win the Madden tournament. Right.
Yeah.
So things I like about the smaller team football, I'm still going to do 11 man in the future, but there's some things I really like about it. I wish people would give it a chance because I think they'd love it.
I think the fact that you're going with the whole robot scene, I think that's going to open up people's like minds for
I hope
taking
so.
a chance on a game like that because you're right. I mean, when you're focusing on those skill, I mean, look at Retro Bowl, right? That game's all about picking, you know, you're just
I'd rather
playing with
not look at
top
Retro Bowl.
X number.
Sorry.
You don't want to be compared to Retro Bowl, you see?
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
My
That's what,
next game too that I'm in pre-production right now is going to be kind of like what you're saying, right? Making it robots it opens the door to entry for people who are obsessed with real football, right? They'll play a robot game and give it a chance because it's not NFL.
right.
My next game in pre-production is the same sort of way. It's going to be right now. It's tentatively like a remake of Backyard Football with like kids and things. Um, People will give that a chance because it's not NFL. So it's like a gateway drug to more creative football.
I think the problem that people have, and I'm just thinking right now as a fan of football games. By the way, I have more time, so we can run a
I
little
was
late.
about to freak out, but I figured since you went and talked to your wife, you handled it. So
Yeah, we're gonna go separate because we have my kid's soccer game today. But he
yeah.
likes to go super early, so I have a good 20 minutes or so left. But
Oh, cool.
the thing is, I don't know if you're good on time though. Are you gonna be
I got
okay?
plenty of time.
Okay. So thinking about it from a fan like perspective, I think a lot of our fans, and I know you guys have put some things in the chat here, but I really haven't seen anything in a little while. But if you have anything you want to ask us, or you want us to talk about anything before, towards the last segment here, we can definitely talk about whatever you guys want. But as a fan, I know looking at people who are doing football games, and us included, there is it's so challenging to make a quality product that will compete, not only because you have to we are kind of competing with Madden. We just are. And that's why you're making the game you're making, and I'm making Legend Bowl because,
Yeah, we go out of our way to make it seem like we're nothing like Madden. Like we
well,
go way out of our way.
yeah, because I know that I can't compete with Madden, and that's why no matter
My
no
first
matter
game, Desktop Dynasties, right?
right.
It was it was a bunch of game pieces playing on a board on a table, and it was what, a 7-on-7 or 8-on-8 football. Nothing like Madden, but people still compared it to Madden. It was so weird.
Well, and that's the thing I was trying to get to, because as a fan, you also, like, I know for myself, we have to make a good enough game. It can't be, and this is what I think, where the biggest challenge is that you can't, as an indie developer, you cannot make a prototype and try to sell it. You can't make a game that's not fully fleshed out, polished to the 10th degree, because there's too many games out there that people can play. I mean, I
Yeah. So
believe,
somebody Sprout here asked something that you're kind of talking about now.
yeah.
A Sprout, what's your current opinion on indie football games like Sunday Rivals? And you're kind of getting to that, right? You can't make a game that people can compare to Madden. You can't make a game that looks like you're going towards Madden and then stop short, right? Kind of what you're saying. Like you
Yeah,
can't
there's some good
make a game
comments here
half
from a few
baked.
people. Yeah, I was reading that too. I was just trying to get to my
Not
point
that
because,
Sunday Rivals is half baked. I don't want to like say that, but if people are like you see, if people are expecting a certain franchise mode because they play Madden, if you don't give them that, they get angry.
yeah. So here's the thing, and I don't want to talk bad about anybody's game, because I'm the first one to say that my game's not perfect. But the problem that we have is we have decades and decades of football games, all the way back to the Tecmo Bowls of the day, where somebody mentioned about, why is my game getting compared to Tecmo Bowl? I know that it has the bowl name in it. I know that my
Yeah.
music kind of sounds like it a little
Same
bit.
graphical style.
It's a pixel art game. But my game, when you go play Retro Bowl, that game was a complete and utter ripoff in terms of the sprites, the way the game looks. I mean, they couldn't have stolen the Tecmo Bowl look anymore. Now they changed the way the game plays. They have a really cool management system, player management. They tried to they had a very creative design. I get it. So that's very different. But my game's nothing like Tecmo Bowl. Like I love Tecmo Bowl, and I wish I could make a game as great as Tecmo Bowl was for its time.
For its time, yeah.
Right. But my game is just not Tecmo Bowl. So I know why it gets compared, but I know that
Yeah.
once people play it, they have the question like you have. Why is it getting compared to it? Because it shouldn't be. But
Yeah, and you'll see Sunday Rivals get compared to games like Axis and Madden and what was that one crappy game, Max Football? Because the graphic the graphical style is similar, right? It's 11 on 11, and fair or not, like I think Sunday Rivals has a really interesting and creative take, and could that story mode that they were working on is something fresh, I think would have been amazing, and I was really looking forward to that. I hope it continues. But it's kind of like, it hurts your heart to see people talk about it like it's another Axis or Madden, right?
right.
That sucks, because it's not. It's different. It's better. But like that sucks.
Well, the thing is, like here's the thing. Here's my opinion of Sunday Raw. I'm going to give it to you guys straight from what I've played. The gameplay for me, the button mapping alone, which I know it sounds like picky, and they may have changed the option to change to remap your buttons. So don't get stuck on that if you guys are interested in the game. I say support the guy if you want to support indie
Don't give a
football.
bad review because you don't like the
Yeah,
buttons. No
definitely don't.
thumbs down for stuff like that.
And if you don't like the buttons and you want to give a bad review, at least find out if you can change
No,
it. And if
don't
you
give a
can't,
bad review.
well, I'm
Don't be
saying,
that guy.
well, yeah, no, don't give a bad review. Fine. But if you are
Yeah.
a jerk enough to give one, at the very
Go on to
least,
Steam and discuss it with him.
find out if they can change it if it's in the game now, because it might already be in the game. Because part of what you guys don't understand, like people ask me all the time, oh, add this, add that. They don't always understand that I can go ahead and add some of that stuff pretty quick, but how do I show the user that you can even find it? How do you
Yeah.
change the
How do you
setting
know
on
it's
it?
not already in the game?
Yeah, how do they learn that and isn't it not already in the game? Like, so there's parts of it where the point is that, like, the Sunday Rivals, going back, Sunday Rival, my feedback, I think the button mapping was a problem for me because I got quickly distracted or confused with the buttons. I didn't have enough time with the game to really relearn the buttons. I didn't want
Yeah.
to, because the gameplay to me wasn't good enough. The passing, the way the ball gets thrown, the ball physics were not very good. He's very, very good at visuals.
That might be the prettiest football game I've ever seen.
It's super pretty. I'm not a huge fan of the Minecraft graphics, the
Low
blocky
poly.
graphics.
Yeah. I
I
actually
don't.
really like low poly
You
style.
like
Yeah,
it?
so
See,
for me, I loved it. Yeah.
well, then that's and people do like it. And I used to like it,
Yeah.
but those graphics for me haven't aged well. That's me though, but that's just a
Yeah.
personal preference, right? But everything else about the game, the way it looks is beautiful. I don't know what kind of modes he's going to have in the game when it's done, but I know he was working on some modes. I know you mentioned that he bailed on a
That story
few,
mode. Yeah.
right? Because that's hard to do. The trailer he did, or whatever that last
Oh my
video he
God.
did where he had the dialogue, that was freaking awesome. But I know
That
it's
was
all
so
just
cool.
scripted, and I was like, man,
I'm so jealous whenever he puts out trailers and things.
I really, really loved what he did, man. I gave him a comment on the thing, but it's like that game. I think the gameplay really needs a lot of help. Because once you get into the 3D, and that's why with your game, I think you have a good chance, because you're not having to worry about humans. And once you start dealing with human models like that, it's just so easy to see limitations in the game. And you're like, okay, well, he's running weird. The tackling's very weird.
I
Like
know,
it
because
just feels
we all know how humans are supposed to run because we see it every day, right?
right.
I think I talked about that in one of our streams. Yeah. Once you do
Like,
humans, like there's an expectation.
so Z Walk here says he thinks that Sunday Rivals is a great game. Why do you think it's a great game? Let us know in the comments, because we want to hear more opinions. I think he's got a very visually great game. I'll give him that. The UI, the way you use the mouse, I don't like the way he does that, but I like the game on the field, the way it looks is beautiful. The way that I mean, if we hired him to present our games to people, we'd probably have a better chance too,
God.
and if he hired us to
Um,
see, so he's focusing on certain parts of the game, which I think are his go-to, like, skill
yeah.
sets. Plus I think they can be a little bit easier to do than sitting there and
Plus
working
the
on the
thing,
engine.
let's not forget, right? It's a complete game. Like there's that right there
And
is
he's
an
doing it
achievement. It's
part-time.
monumental.
Right. He's doing it like just like you. He's got a regular
Yeah.
job, and I think he has a family, and he goes after hours, and he
Good
works
for him.
constantly on the game. And no, dude, that guy gets props across the board. He does marketing on his game with his trailers and his videos and his releases. Like, mine suck in comparison, and I'm doing this full time. I'm doing it full time.
Yeah.
I just don't spend my time on that stuff like I should. Like, if the screen I'm showing you here is something that I just changed over the past couple days because my facilities weren't completely really done. Like, there were things that would make the fans happier that are in the current version that's out right now, but that doesn't do anything in the game. Like, you're going to pay to have a facility to make your fans happier, but that doesn't do anything in the game. So I took that part out, and now it's all income for the stadium facilities. And I took out the fan happiness, but now I have the ability where there's a risk where, like, fans can get food poisoning in this case, and they can cause like an outrage and vandalize your facility. So there's like, you can get a boost in income, but you have a percentage chance where the facility gets damaged, and you have to spend money, and you have to wait for it to come back and get repaired and get rebuilt. And so But that I don't see stuff like this in other games. Maybe the
Yeah.
old Maddens had it, you know?
Yeah, this is actually a good. This is like when we talk about what are you trying to make, right? We talk about that a lot of time. What's the thing you're making? We call, I think earlier you called game development like art, and that's a good way of putting it. When you look at your hot dog stand feature right here, you get a good flavor of what you're going for, and it's this like there's football, there's deep football, there's sim and all that stuff, and then there's this next level of depth where you're going for with all of your modes, right? Things like the hot dog stand, things like facilities upgrades, morale, your franchise mode. Like you're going to this level of depth that most games don't go to, and that's your jam, right? And I think Z-Walk in this chat kind of mentioned it too. Like Sunday Rivals is going for more arcade, like kind of an NFL street style gameplay. And like that seems to be his strategy, and he's nailed it. It's so good for that, right? My game's kind of a mishmash right now, but in general, I like to go for really tactical franchise team building type modes. So like when you'll play my games, you'll get that more so. It's just a little bit of gameplay I showed on Cyberleague. Like you could tell if my visuals for Cyberleague looked like Sunday Rivals, like I would be a millionaire. But they're not even close. Like they're just not close.
I love what he did. I love what he did with that trailer, man. I think I'm gonna try to bring it up because I really liked it that much. Like I want to show you guys again. I'm gonna bring it up here, guys. So just bear with me. Let me see. Sunday Rivals.
What did I show?
Huh?
What did I show? Did I show something?
Did I say you? No, the guy who's low poly. The guy who's
I didn't do it.
no, the guy who's doing the Sunday
I don't
Rivals.
have a trailer.
No, he did the oh yeah, the fumble update one. So this is the one.
Oh, that one is so good.
We gotta watch this real quick. I'm gonna turn the volume off because I don't want to hear it. Actually, you know what? Let's hear it because it was actually pretty good. The screen might be cut off a little bit, so
that's all right. We see it. It looks
but
fine.
I can barely grip the ball in this rain.
That's his voice too.
I can't risk a third pick.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna play it safe.
It was
Imagine if this was in like
so clever.
There's no way I can lose the ball.
I mean, it's so funny because
this is why I was so excited for this story mode because we kind of got a little bit of a peek of what it was going to be.
Yeah.
My God, I love that.
Run! Hit him with the V21.0 fumble update.
I know. I want that so bad. That would be so cool.
What?
Well,
that's my ball now, Sands. Should have read the patch
I love
notes.
it.
so the
He
thing
literally
is,
messed up. Hey, Sprout, he literally messed up his voice after making this. That's funny.
oh, he did. Oh, that's funny.
So funny.
Yeah, but you think about
see that.
I mean, it's funny because I don't mean to knock the gameplay because he has gameplay and it actually is not horrible at all. I just think that he has a lot more room.
Style. That's
Yeah,
all.
different style. I think him just changing the ball physics to be better. I know he's mentioned this too, that he would like to change them. If his ball physics were better alone, I think that would be a huge improvement. That just is an eyesore for me. But this thing he did here with the RPG like element that he had here. Let me just
that might be the best game trailer I've ever seen.
There we go. Whoops. I want to leave it on this part right here. There we go. So just having that in there, it adds so much more like quality to the game. Like you can like mask a lot of the things just by doing stuff like this. And this stuff takes time. I mean, I did a tutorial in my game and people play it and they're like, okay, one and done. But my wife's texting me. Sorry. Okay. Bring the chair. No, but like this is the creative things that you can do to add value to your game, add some depth to your game, and kind of cover the things that aren't really perfect about a game. Because football alone is great, but if it's hard to get perfect. You're never going to get it perfect. So if you can add layers to kind of, which is what Madden tries to do, right? They add layers all the time to hide the meat of it. But I like what he did here. That's the point. And these are creative things. And this guy's doing it as a side hustle. I can only imagine what he would be able to do if he had this full time. So you guys should all go out there and support him, whether you like the game or not. Support the guy because you never know what it could do. It could launch the game into a whole new stratosphere, and he can actually bring it to consoles and bring it to you guys on a wider scale. So
Mr. Seed wants you to talk a little bit about the sim engine in general for CPU versus CPU games and how that's handled
you're talking about when you just sim a game
in Legend Bowl, I'm
in
assuming.
Legend Bowl. Well, the way I did the sim engine, which by the way, the architect, like I leaned on Sean for a lot of this guy down here. I leaned on him a
yeah,
lot.
that's right. I remember that now.
Because I worked my first like whole time with the game was trying to get it to work on the field, when you're playing it. And then I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to work on sim now. So how does the sim engine work? And I know you worked on many of them. So I picked his brain multiple times, and I appreciate you for that. But basically, it's a different, like, you can't you probably can, and I don't know how the hell ESPN 2K5 did it, but it's hard to just take the game engine on the field and let that just play out behind the scenes. I mean, that
you can't. Yeah, you can't.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's a way people could do it and fast forward the speed. I don't know, and hide it behind. I don't know, but I wasn't even going to think about that. So you have to build an entirely like new set of code that will bring in your players, like your matchups for each team, go through their skills, just load the data, basically the player data. And then like for me, I start with a clock. The clock is whatever quarters you have, first quarter, 5 minute, whatever. And like each play you run through and you say, okay, what down is it? They pick a play call. They either pass or run or kick, punt, whatever. And you basically like play it out, and you do these battles where it's like, okay, the quarterback has this skill, this is what he threw, this is who he threw to based on your receivers that you have available, and who's guarding that receiver, what's their matchup with their skill, their speed, agility, whatever. And then it rolls a dice and it says, okay, he got 5 yards, he got 8 yards. And it's all just like fabricated, but it's all based on the data behind the scenes. So you're trying to play this chess match with the rosters that you have, and you have a clock. So it's like every play ticks off depending on how many yards you get and how long the play, runs. You have this clock and you have timeouts, and it simulates a game on a piece of paper, basically. Like the sim text things that you would do, text sims that you would do, and you come out with a score, you come out with stats, and then you tune your stats. See, what I didn't do with it is I didn't say, okay, these guys are getting 400 yards rushing. I have to just manually say you can't go over 200. No, I had to tweak the matchups and tweak how much they run. And like, I never fabricated like the stats. The stats are organically being done by the way things are being run in the engine, which I think is cool, because at the end of the day, it's like, I never say you must get 65%, passing for this quarterback because he's at X number, skill level. Right. And so from that standpoint, it's organic. But it's not the same thing as being on the field. They're two totally different like areas.
Yeah. Yeah. Back in the day, I don't know if anybody remembers, I think Max Football 2020 or 19, the one before I got there. Remember the one where if you simmed a week, it took 45 minutes to sim a week, basically, or something like that.
Mhm.
Or 45 minutes to sim a season. It was because they were trying to sim every play as if it were being played on the field. And it's just you can't do that. It takes too long. So then I got there and I got it. You could sim a whole season in like under 20 seconds or something like that, using the technique that you have now, where it's like you don't have to sim everything about every single play. You sim what's important, and then you speed things up. And the things that are unimportant, you just either abstract them or put them off to the side. And that's kind of how I remember we were talking about when you were developing, how you did it, right? You sim the things that are important, the things that are not important, you don't waste any processing time on. So that way you can sim a whole week in under a second.
Yeah, because
I did a whole video
on
on Fast Sim. I don't know if anybody saw it, but it was kind of like this whole discussion.
If you give me the link, I can put it in the descriction here.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. I'll let you know if I find it.
Yeah,
and send
just
it
throw
over
it to me on Discord, and I'll do it later today.
Yeah.
Because I got to get going in like literally like in 2 minutes. But we'll wrap up here now, and so my quick point before about as a fan, I think the hard part that Sean and I have and people like us have is it's hard to compete in this market. It's very hard to compete. It's very hard to get a game that people are actually going to want. I see what you're doing with Cyberleague, and I think that you're making phenomenal, like unbelievably ridiculous progress. Like it actually makes me feel like a loser, and I'm not kidding, because you're doing it part time. And I know that you've told me you continue to tell me how it happens, and I know you don't have like a magic like crystal ball that just makes it. I know you have ways to make it faster, and a lot of it is there's things underneath that you probably need to fix and get better and complete the game. I get all that, but at the end of the day, people really want a fully flushed out game, and to do that takes time. And or and that's the thing, or you hire people that can sell people on the idea of what you're making, and they can fund your game, and then you can use that money to build your game. But it all comes down to how are you going to get the money to survive. And I've been dealing with that, you've been dealing with that, you have a regular job right now, and I'm going to probably have to get a regular job if things don't magically just turn successful for me. So I hate to talk about the money, but if every time somebody
It
asks me for a
matters.
feature,
Yeah.
I say, give me $1,000, $2,000 so that I can actually live, you're going to say, it's okay. I don't need the feature. You're not going to want it. You're not going to want it. And so you need to go talk to AAA games and ask them to do a new setting or a new feature, or give them a bad review and see if they'll listen, because we don't have the money to always listen. I'm just so damn stubborn that I do it. And that's why my game has taken 4.5 years. That's stupid. Anybody who looks at my game, they're like, dude, you failed, bro. You went way too far, way too deep, way too hard on a game that's making you less than tic-tac-toe would make. That's the truth. Retro Bull made the game in 8 months to a year. They're making millions of dollars probably. And you know how I feel about that game. So whatever. I hate to vent. I vent a lot. We vented a lot.
Who
in
else
this
we gonna
thing.
vent to?
Yeah.
Right? That's why we have people. We can
Yeah.
vent to them.
But do you have any? You can close. We got a couple of minutes if you want to close out, and then I got to run.
That's all I got. Stay tuned. I'm gonna have a lot of gameplay videos for Cyber League coming up, just because I'm in the play testing portion, and I like to do that on video. So stay tuned for that. And then of course my feedback videos for the new Desktop Dynasties, and potentially my upcoming backyard football pre-production thing.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's it. I'm going to do a hard cut off. I'm going to shut this down right now. So it'll probably just, you guys will go. Thanks for everybody who came through. Sean, thanks. I wish we had more time to do this, but it's also nice to get the hell out and get back to life.
Yeah.
Because I know you and
Get
I are
in
busy.
and get out.
But we'll talk, man. Keep your head up. I know you got, your things with work and everything. And hopefully things get better soon. And we can make a lot of money on these games. And maybe we work together one day like we always
Wouldn't that
talk.
be nice?
So until next time, guys, thanks for coming through. We really appreciate it. Check out the link in below for Sean's channel. Go check him out. He'll probably repost this if he has time. And then we'll do it again soon. All right.
Yep.
Peace.
See ya.
Later, guys.